They'll be calling me royalty.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tier 2 Round 4. We are here at China. An amazing race coming up ahead of us. Of course, joining me is my co-commentator DarkKnight. Unfortunately, SSJ is not here, so I'm also the one streaming. Any feedback will, of course, be appreciated. But DarkKnight, before we hurry up into the lobby, etc., what are your thoughts about this race as well as Tier 2? What do you expect from these guys today?
I think this is going to be a very eventful race. I mean,
comparing to the last two races where we have had so many incidents, so many battles. I think this is going to be a challenging circuit. It's a very technical circuit. There's a lot of medium speed, high speed. There's also a long back straight. So I think we're going to see plenty of overtakes, but I think also we're going to see plenty of incidents throughout the race.
That is completely true. And then I think we were predicting around maximum amount of safety cars, which is 4. So I think that could be possible if it does happen. But what will happen now is we will go on over to the track video. As you can see, 5.4 kilometers, 16 turns, a lot of elevation changes, 2 DRS zones, 2 very long straights as well. Plenty of overtaking is going to happen going into turn one with quite a bit of a twisty and turny turn one it being. And yeah, of course, you can see a lot of overtakes in the second DRS zone as well as we go up into turn 14. So that is that. In the meanwhile, what we did see a bit of domination from the likes of Satvik in the previous race. What are we expecting in this race? Are we expecting someone who was around the pace of Satvik, because Satvik has now moved up into tier 1 because of his performance, so perhaps someone like Jose or ABD performing at the top here?
I think Jose and ABD are a good shout out. If we go back to the previous season, ABD did get a podium from here on this track, starting, I believe, from somewhere in the midfield. So he has quite a lot of pace, and today will be a very interesting race. One, the choices of setups you can choose a very low downforce setup. You can also choose a very high downforce setup, and we'll get to see which one performs best. So yeah, I think ABD, Jose, Mamu, I think these guys are good shout out for today's race.
I do think so too. There's, as you mentioned, a very, very big amounts of discrepancy in what sort of setups we have, considering the fact that there is all sorts of corners that suit the downforce, like especially if you're going through sector 2. Whole of sector 2 requires that downforce so that your car stays planted. You carry that speed with you, and then when you move on to obviously sector 3, it's pretty much just straights, maybe a few inconveniences in terms of corners, but then pretty much straights. And then of course sector 1 being a good mix of the both of them. So uh, we will have to see what sort of top speeds we reach today, or perhaps we don't.
Yes, also returning back to the tier is Alex Joseph. So we'll get to see how he performs for today's race. So that will be a interesting thing to watch. And also one person we didn't mention was Vicious. I mean, he's also done quite well in the last two races, and obviously he won the tier 4 championship last season. So let's see who gets a good result today in qualifying, because people like Jose and Vicious, they're always up there in the top 2, top 3.
Yeah, Vicious hasn't really had the best of runs though, in terms of his luck. If we go back to the Silverstone race, I mean, he did get taken out. He did a brilliant recovery drive, but then he got taken out, and then a few strategy decisions from him didn't really suit his car, and then obviously a lot of things happening. And Jose Hero, who is serving his qualifying ban, of course, loading up the setup and retiring. That's why he's retired. He's not retired before that. But yeah, so I think Vicious can perform quite well here today, considering the fact that this track is very much controller suited. So, considering the fact that Vicious is also on controller, I think he has a higher chance of dominating when you look at the comparisons of, say, your usuals like ABD.
Also, Speed Lust is that is Steel Sneeze. I think he's
The
also
speedless is
Speed Lust.
Satvik.
Sorry, Satvik. Satvik has obviously moved. Steel Sneeze is also another one who we'll have to watch out. He finished P2 last race, so we'll have to watch out for him also on for this race. And as drivers are going out, we can see some of them are going out to set laps on the medium tires. I think they want to get a flow going before they set their laps on the softs.
Yep, I think a lot of them have not practiced, and for whatever reason, my game all tapped there, so I do apologize. But yes, that is Vicious going through turn one now, being one of the first people to set a lap, keeping it in third through turn one, then while moving into turn two, also third. So clearly not willing to do too many risks as Rossi Oh my god,
Oh
that is
my god,
on
that
track with the poke player over here. And then if we look back, that looks to be a collision that's happened on track between those guys. Yeah, so I'm not sure who is to blame, but clearly the stores will be having a look at that.
yeah. It seems Steel Sneeze does not have any damage, so we'll see. And now Vicious is at the end of sector 2, taking the right-hander and getting a good exit out of here for the long straight. And he's kept it quite tight and not taken a wide line.
Rounding up the final sector here in just about a second. I think Vicious is going to be setting a good banker, but then one thing you also notice when you look at the telemetry is that you run out of ERS quite quickly here. Vicious setting the benchmark 32-4. Pretty sure that's going to be beat quite easily. That is Parth, who's also on a lap, but yeah. It's quite easy to beat such a lap, but then again, he is on medium, so can't really judge that just yet.
And he is on another lap, and this is a very tricky corner because it's a slow corner. You need to place it just right, otherwise you can go very wide and lose a lot of lap time.
Yeah, and talking about losing a lot of lap time, clearly Deadshot is not too familiar with that P1 spot as Vision goes P2 with a 33-0 on softs. Clearly he is taking it in a chill manner because on mediums he should be able to beat that lap in a convincing manner, to say the least.
So Path as Mamu has set a lap 133.7. So that is his banker lap done. And Vettel PR Vajpayee with a 133.5 on softs as well. So that shows Vicious has very good pace. I mean, to put a 132.4 on mediums, I think it's a very, very good lap.
And that is Ace Scoop without a win. And yeah, Vicious, despite being on mediums, has actually put in, as you said, a solid lap time. Clearly, these guys are struggling a little bit to beat it. Poke player 2, 3, 4, 5 is on the back straight. And that is a Williams who is challenging him. That is Steel Sneeze, guys. It is the qualifying, not the sprint race or the race, and that is Poke player making a bit of a mistake, and he has lost a bit of lap time, and yeah, that is going to cost him a little bit, and maybe a report is coming Steel Sneeze's way, who goes across the line to take away pole 32-2-3-7, and let's see where is Poke player. Of course, he's in last. I mean, he pretty much got blocked going into the final sector, and then obviously could not set a proper lap time. Wizard of Oz has invalidated his lap. So that Steel Sneeze and I think that was Deadshot getting unnecessarily close there to each other. That was
could be a report. That could be a report.
Possibly, yeah. And then so I don't know what these guys are doing to be completely honest, because Deadshot overtook them. Now he's let them by, and then again, I don't know what these guys are doing. It just seems a little bit pointless to be. But yeah, if they are unnecessarily slowing each other, then that is a report for sure.
You know, as people are putting the laps in, Vicious lap is looking extremely good. A 132.2 on softs and a 132.4 on mediums. So I think Vicious is the favorite to get the pole for this race.
absolutely. I mean, he's in the pits. He switched on over to the mediums. Sorry, to the softs. But yeah, if he's only 2 tenths away on a pair of mediums compared to a soft runner, I think as the session progresses, there is certainly a lot of lap time there for Vicious. And since the softs are anyways about a second faster than the mediums, I think, yeah, it is possible that, a pole could be coming his way and, possible domination as well. But one thing he has to keep in mind is that when you're on the outlap in China, because it is quite, a high degrading um,
Circuit, yeah.
circuit. Yeah, there you go, circuit, right? So what it does is, even when you're on outlap, just trying to get those temperatures, it eats away in your tire, and if you're not careful about it, you can end up getting about 3-4 percentage of tire wear, which already will slow you down by 3 or 4 tenths in your lap that will be coming up. So you have to be very slow on the outlap, you have to be very careful on the outlap, and obviously, unlike other tracks, you cannot weave to build temperature. Anyways, you realistically shouldn't be doing it, because obviously in this game now you can just use your brakes to heat up your tires without adding any additional wear to them. So you can just do that. But then I guess if you are opting to weave in case in that last sector and you still don't have plenty of tire temperature, then you will be putting a lot of additional wear onto your tires and losing a lot of lap time, obviously, as a result of that. As Tate's knees is going almost 4 tenths faster on his lap, so clearly he has picked up the pace here and clearly wants to give Vicious a bit of challenge for that pole position.
And he had a great exit out of turn 12, I believe.
13, I think. Yeah.
13. So we'll get to see if he has a low downforce setup or a high downforce setup, because we'll get to compare it if he has gained a lot of time on the back straight. And he's going into the pits.
That is interesting, yeah, because he was improving by quite a bit, and then now he's gone into the pits. So I
Maybe
think
run out of fuel.
Could be, or he's unsatisfied with the lap. On board with Ace's scoop in that Ferrari, which, I mean, on board it looks as wide as a spaceship. Coming into turn, I think 15. I'm not sure. It's very weird, because consider that one big turn 12 is like 2 corners or something. So again, figure it out. Anyways, Ace's scoop comes across the line with a 34.3, moves up into P8 right behind Deadshot, and I'm pretty sure Ace's scoop can improve a lot more than that. Final runs yet to go. Wizard of Oz on a hot lap himself has just crossed sector 1, going through the fast left-hander, almost at 270 kph, not quite close enough. BK19 sets a lap of a 42.3. Clearly he's made a mistake somewhere. He's going to improve on that.
Also, Alex Joseph with a P3 returning back to F1 with 32.6. That is also very solid lap time for him.
Yeah, not looking too bad for Alex. Maybe if he can keep up the performance, because E-Dog and Vision are obviously pretty much right there in the Alfa Romeo guys. Clearly have been known to, work together quite a bit and put challenge on the drivers together. It will be a tough job for Alex to try and keep that P3. So I think it'll be in his best interest to try and clear some cars up ahead of him. As we see Wizard of Oz coming through the final corner with the DRS turned on. Comes across the line with 31.5.
Wow.
And Vicious beats that with a 31.4. So clearly they were right behind each other. Next driver to cross the line is ABD with the DRS. He comes across the line and he is only P4. Cannot improve on his lap.
The two Alpha Tauri teammates have been put a great lap, 131.4 and a 131.5. So these guys are going to, I think it's going to be like a Red Bull 1-2 but with an Alpha Tauri. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was Wizard who was ahead of Vicious, making a big hole in the air for Vicious get that slipstream, improve a little bit more on the time, and clearly that has paid off. 31-4. I mean, this is getting dangerously close to tier 1 times. Do you think that perhaps another promotion from tier 2 to tier 1 could be imminent?
I think this has been discussed before. I think Vicious is I think with every race he's just becoming faster and faster. So I think we are reaching to a stage where we won't see him in tier 2 anymore.
Could be possible. We'll leave that up to the coordinators. Vicious has forgot to turn off his battery, perhaps in a hurry to try and get back. He has run out of fuel though, but yeah, he clearly is in a hurry to get back into the pits, as there are only 4.5 minutes remaining. Of course, everyone will want to go into the pits and try and prepare for another lap, as Pokeplayer will be doing his final run quite a bit early, in my opinion. He won't have much of the track evolution to help him out here, and then obviously gain that extra couple of tens that he may with that track evolution.
Everyone is back into the pits. Hopefully they come out quickly so they can all put in their laps, because there's going to be a traffic up ahead in a while. Only 4 minutes to go, and it's a quite long circuit, so not, you need to get out quickly, get in that free space so that you don't get any dirty air, don't get any obstacles on the way, and put in a good lap time.
Yep, and that is Nirvana. Comes across the line, improves up to a P10, improves by 0.8 of a second. Great improvement, moves him up into the top 10, and will be, if he, of course, let's just assume that he maintains his P10 position even in the race, he'll be getting away with a nice bag of points compared to being in P, I think 13 or 12 where he was earlier.
Simply, do you think Jose is starting last, obviously because of the quali ban? You think it's going to be slightly advantageous for him, as turn 1 is always a room for chaos, so he'll get to cut through some of it and climb up the ladder?
Yeah, absolutely. There is going to be a lot of chaos in China, especially going into turn 1, as you mentioned. And starting from the back means that you can take a bit of a chill pill, since you don't have anything to lose anyways because you are last. You can take a little bit of a chill pill, see what you want to do, see all the chaos happening ahead of you, avoid all of that, you gain those positions, and then when you do kind of see that, okay, the drivers have started to settle down a little bit, then you can move on forward and start properly attacking people, as obviously Jose has done quite a few times already.
There's an incident sector 3.
No, it's just drivers going slow to maintain. Yeah.
Which is also on an out lap now. How much do you think he's going to improve for the last run? What do you predict?
What I predict? I think maybe 3/10 could be on the line for Vicious. I do see him pulling an absolute unknown out of the bag and then doing it for sure.
I think most of the drivers are on outlap except for Vettel, Bihari Vajpayee. Yeah, except for him.
And Pokeplayer as well, who has unfortunately... Oh!
Wow, okay.
That is something I did not notice. He has his wing broken, and that is his qualifying unfortunately over before it even properly begun. Ace Scoop is the next driver on a lap, and Pokeplayer has retired, but he wasn't fully into the pits. On the edge of things, though, so we'll have to see what the stewards will say about that. Ace Scoop on the meanwhile has just finished sector 2, is improving by 3/10, but he has to do a lot more in the upcoming sector because Deadshot is quite a bit ahead of Ace Scoop, and those 3/10 will not do him any favors.
Yeah. It's not even going to put him P12. So, yeah. Let's see if he has a low downforce setup, if he can gain a lot of time on this back straight. And he heads towards the final corner. Takes that very well. And as he crosses the line, goes P12.
He lifted off before he crossed the line, I think, no? Or did he do it after?
No, he did after. But
Okay.
a 9/10 improvement. So he has gained a lot of time on the back straight. It is a low downforce setup because he was only 3/10, 3.5 tenths up.
Ah, apologies for that once again. Game keeps all tabbing for whatever odd reason. Uh, Not in my control. I genuinely apologize for that, guys. Anyways, Vicious is on the lap. He was improving by only half a tenth. Wizard was down 3/10. Let's see. ABD, not sure what he is doing. Steel Sneeze is improving by 2.5 tenths here as he comes across into Sector 2. Visitor was is just a bit ahead. Ahead of him will be, I think, BK19 who crossed the line, goes P3. An amazing improvement, BK19. Visitor was does not improve. I think it will be Alex Joseph next who will be coming across the lane. Actually, it was his teammate Parth, and he's gone up into P6. Where can Alex Joseph put his car? On his returning, takes away the P6 from his teammate. And now the Ferrari. Wait, what Ferrari? It can't be. There's an Alfa Romeo.
Vicious crossing the line. Oh,
And-
and he improves a 131.1.
Ah, okay. Then all eyes will be on APD, who was actually down 2.5 tenths. Steel Sneeze went up into P3, and yes, Vicious did improve by 3 or 4 tenths, so my prediction was correct. But anyways, moving on to APD, he has to hope for an amazing last sector. Not a lot of places where you can gain time, so all he can do is hope that he can make a good use out of this final corner. DRS on the correct time, comes across the line, and he ends up losing even more time, and that is your qualifying pretty much over.
What a performance from Vicious, a 131.1, 4 tenths clear of P2. So this is setting up very well for Vicious and his teammate because they have gotten a 1-2.
Yup, it is a good show, but then Wizard is under a lot of pressure then, because if he's only a tenth away from Steel Sneeze, then that means that Steel Sneeze, as well as maybe even BK, they will be up there putting pressure, and considering that ABD is not too far behind, so those 3-4 guys will be putting a lot of pressure on Wizard to keep his position. And obviously Vicious, I don't think, will be slowing down to try and help his teammate up and keep him in the DRS, because that would mean he had to slow himself down too much, and that obviously will not be an ideal situation for him. And obviously Pokeplayer obviously has that 5 place grid penalty as well. But anyways, we will have to see what these guys do about that.
I think the most important thing for the two AlphaTauri boys is to keep it clean, get away from all the trouble, and then just stay as they are. I think if they can manage to do that, they can have a really good race and finish where they started.
Possibly,
But as you said, Steel Sneeze, BK19, ABD, these guys, especially during the race, they're up there. So it's not going to be easy, but I think they can try this time for a possible 1-2 finish.
All right. We are just about a few minutes in, and it is cloudy.
Is it raining?
No, it's cloudy. It's only cloudy. But if it remains cloudy, then I think it could be raining. And if it rains, then forget about Vicious taking a pole, forget about anything, because the rain is a very good equalizer. It will equalize everything, and then at the end of it, nothing will matter other than the driver driving the car. So how you drive the car will decide where you end up in a rainy race. That is if it rains.
If it rains, it's going to be a very, very exciting race, and I'll be looking forward to turn 1. It's going to be chaotic. But right now, I think it's just cloudy, so let's see how it goes. I think right now, for everyone, I think their main thing is like not to get into any incidents, keep it clean, and then slowly settle into the race where you can get a gap and start pushing.
Exactly, and I'm unfortunately receiving some news that we do not have rain incoming. It is going to be cloudy and then may clear up later on. But we hope, huh?
We never know. It's Cody's. We never know.
Exactly. For all we know, somehow Mark will be like, hey, yo, yeah, so about that, rain is actually coming. Borrowed the weather radar from Ferrari.
The approximate setting is really approximate.
It's extremely approximate, and what's not approximate is the fact that there are 5 red lights on now. And lights out, and away we go. Great start. Oops, that's the whole telemetry gone. Apologies. Great start from Vicious here. He leads us into turn 1, and we can see collision there between BK90 and Steel Sneeze having to go off wide completely, and he's down into P12, and he's still losing positions. A little bit of a scrap happening up ahead. Rossi, I think he was right there fighting it out, but then he has managed to stay ahead. Nirvana trying to challenge him, going into turn something, I believe turn 4 here, but clearly having to back off. No, he sends it down the inside. Parth having to have just a look, and I think Parth is also disconnected. Up ahead, Deadshot and Alex Joseph making changes, and Alex Joseph moving up into P7. Deadshot having to stay behind even though he's on mediums, and clearly Alex Joseph much faster despite being on hards. Vicious also starting on hards, and he is about 3 tenths away, and BK19 is 8 tenths behind the other guys, Steel Sneeze and Rossi. I think there might be some team orders coming this way, because Steel Sneeze is definitely being held up behind Rossi, and clearly Rossi wants to get past the guys ahead, or he has to let Steel Sneeze by, so he's in a very bad situation.
Also, Wizard of Oz, they are on alternate strategies. The 2 Alpha Tauri boys, and he's just a 3 tenths away from Vicious. And ABD has made a move. He's up to P3 now, and BK19 falling down the order down to P5, and E-Dog up to P4. Oh, and there is a spin,
That is Deadshot, who has spun out. BK19 and Vision still fighting it out, both of them doing side by side through turn 1, and obviously for some reason also turn 2, even though it is literally the same corner. Now on turn 3, Parth has joined at an appropriate time. He has avoided all of the chaos. Even though he's in P13, he's not in the worst position. BK19 having a look down the inside, does not send it, keeping it clean through there, although that has compromised Vision a little bit, and he has lost further time. In the back we can see Nirvana as well as Alex Joseph fighting it out. Steel Sneeze, who has managed to make his way past Alex Joseph, is trying, obviously he'll be looking to pull away from Alex Joseph here and try to do whatever he can while Alex Joseph's tires do last. However, let's not forget, high tire degradation means that the medium runners will have to pit much earlier compared to the hard runners, and obviously the hard runners will be able to go harder on their tires and push a lot more for a lot longer compared to the medium guys, whereas the medium guys obviously in a matter of a couple laps will have to start conserving and saving, and that is a lead change between Wizard of Oz and Vicious. Vicious having to settle for P2, or is he settling for P2? No, he is trying to fight it out. Does not help the fact that he is on the hards, does not have enough traction to fight it out, but clearly I think this might be a little bit of team orders, maybe a smart play, because we didn't see proper resistance from Vicious, but rather the fact that now that he is behind, he can save his ERS. Wizard of Oz is on obviously medium tires, and since this change has happened, they have gained quite a bit of time here, so I think this was strategical for sure.
Yeah, and if they can play the cards right, and if Wizard can keep pulling Vicious in his DRS, I think it'll work out like a charm for them. And there is a crash. And Poke player has lost his wing. And there's a VSC. So that's one check on my bingo card. I called for a VSC. So yeah.
Yeah, well, my bingo's already gone then because I was saying full safety cars for every single safety car. But okay, fine. I mean, he only has his front wing broken. Maybe if his car retired, then perhaps they would have to bring out the full safety car. But since it hasn't, then yeah, I guess a virtual safety car is plenty.
Also, one battle we did miss out was ABD and E-Dog, and they have switched positions in the last 3 laps. They've just kept switching their positions with each other, so I think we'll even have to watch out for them.
Possibly so, as I think considering the fact that they are using the DRS. Yep, there goes the virtual safety car. ABD with the DRS right behind Vision. Although for whatever reason the camera is looking behind. This is the camera which I cannot switch, unfortunately. This is the one that I can, so I'm not looking behind. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, ABD is in a solid position. He shouldn't really be fighting it with E-Dog because he is on the mediums, and that is obviously not gonna help him out. And Aces Scoop and Poke Player fighting it out for the last position. Poke Player has gone flying off into the runoff without a downforce, and he's gone into a bit of gravel tipping as well. And I think you should head straight for the pits, my friend.
And he's going extremely slowly. Can he even turn into... Oh yeah, he can. And ABD and E-Dog fighting it out for the P3 for the final podium position. And these guys are extreme, like they are similarly paced, so... And there's even Vision who has caught up to them, so these are two Alfa Romeo boys fighting with ABD.
It's actually a multi-car train that's gone as far back as to Steel's knees, and all of them are fighting for that P3 while both the AlphaTauris casually pull away from the rest of the pack, carrying each other in the DRS. Wizard completely pushing. I think Vicious saving his ties a little bit, and obviously both of them benefit from it in the long run.
I think the biggest loser after the start is Steel's knees. I mean, starting up there in the top 3 and then now having to make all those overtakes just to get back. So he has to put in some work now if he wants that podium position, because it's not going to be an easy fight with E-Dog nor ABD, and they'll also be hoping to finish up there in the top 3.
Yeah, absolutely. Lot of work to be put in by Steel's knees. Yeah, let's just wish him for the best. No commentator scores from our side today by the looks of it, which is good. But again, at the end of the day, anything could happen. We're only 5 laps in a 28-lap race, and this train is certainly massive. Alex Joseph is struggling to catch up to these guys. I think he's not too familiar with the hards. He was doing a practice race, and he did say that he doesn't want to use the hards in the first stint, although clearly I think he's forgotten what he said himself, because he is on the hards now and clearly struggling to catch up to the pack ahead despite them fighting. So maybe his tire temperatures are a little too high, and some signs of struggles are clearly being shown.
Yeah, and this DRS train is just extending one by one, and if Alex manages to catch up, and since Rocky is right behind him, it's going to be a very, very long DRS train.
Yeah, Steel's knees with the DRS. Forget about that Vision, and E-Dog ABD made the move as well. And that will be E-Dog losing 2 positions in a matter of 1 corner. Forget about that! 3 positions! E-Dog has lost. Can BK90 do something about it as well? Make him lose another position? Yes! What is happening with E-Dog? Has he picked up damage somehow from somewhere? What is happening to him? He has fallen back from P3 down to P7. Alex Joseph in the DRS of E-Dog is catching up rapidly, so clearly something's gone down here, and whatever it is not an ideal situation for Alfa Romeo, who unfortunately have to lose a lot of points, and that is Steve's knees, who doesn't have to lose a lot of points because he's recovering all of them, almost back up into P3.
And now he only has ABD in his way, and to get that final podium position, and E-Dog, and right behind Alex Joseph Rocky. So that is another DRS train, and I believe because of all of the DRS train, at some point they must have had a small bit of damage, and there is an incident sector 2, and it's BK19 with a spin.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate spin for. Oh my god, I will do something. Apologies once again. It keeps alt tabbing completely by itself. I'm not doing anything here, I swear. But yeah, unfortunate situation for BK19. He has spun out, and yeah, his tires will be extremely hot. I think, yeah, I don't know if you can see it or not. His tires are currently 106 degrees. So, if anyone wants to cook some eggs on there, I guess you can go ahead. Or if you want to boil some water as well, it'll be pretty much instantly boiling.
Also, Jose Hero has made up his way to P10. Not as much as I thought he would. I thought he would be slightly more ahead, but there is still a long way to go. So we'll see how that pans out. And as we can see, Steve Sneeze trying to overtake ABD.
Yeah,
And I think-
clearly a little bit of a struggle from State's knees because as I switched over there just for a second, ABD has a lot more ERS, 40% more ERS than State's knees. So he is just saving up his ERS, cruising casually as the gap between this pack and then just the two leaders up ahead is almost 6 seconds. So clear-cut domination from the AlphaTauri guys who are keeping each other within that slipstream, and Steel Sneeze having a bit of a moment there and almost losing the car.
I think, yeah, the AlphaTauri boys just cleared up for themselves, and they don't have to worry about anything. All they have to do is just keep it clean, keep it the way it is, and I'm sure they'll be, finishing with a good result for this race.
Possibly, and that is once again a switch between Steel Sneeze and ABD. And Steel Sneeze has finally moved up into the podium positions. ABD is not using his ERS, whereas Steel Sneeze is, and that is yellow flags for Poke Player, who has spun out on the exit of turn 1. If you go back to him, his tires will be very, very hot, and he is almost a lap down on these leaders who have been constantly pulling away from the rest of the pack. Nirvana only a couple tenths ahead, and actually ahead of Rossi. Now Rossi, I think, went wide, has caused a bit of a mistake, and he is down into P9, whereas, oh yeah, his tires are still losing a lot of grip. Jose Hero is back up into this action, and he is well within the DRS of Rossi. Rossi with hot tires. And what is happening over here? Vicious has suddenly caught up quite a bit to his teammate. Not sure what's happening. Rossi, I mean, there's a lot of action going on everywhere. And Jose Hero, what a move down the inside there in a very unnatural corner. Gets past Rossi, clearly on a massive comeback drive as he is looking to get past Nirvana as quickly as possible.
I think all the hard runners are starting to get their tires into their prime. Obviously, the medium runners, 7 laps in, their tires will be slowly dying out. So this is the point where all the hard runners have to start pushing in. And as we can see, Vicious, who's already taken the position from Wizard of Oz, back into the lead. And Jose Hero doing his bit, and E-Dog and Alex Joseph. So the hard tires are coming into play. And as we can see, Jose Hero's up into P8.
Yeah,
and he makes the move stick, and he is up to P8.
Great stuff from Jose. Nirvana will have DRS here, but he is out of the ERS and he is 5 tenths behind while he's also at it. And clearly that battling which was happening earlier on between these guys has made them lose a second, because Steve Sneeze only 5 seconds away from the leaders who were at 1.6 and a half. So I don't know what's going on between these guys, but clearly they need to sort it out. Otherwise, they will be losing a heap of time once again, and that time they cannot afford to lose.
If it was me, I would just stick into the DRS. If I was Wizard of Oz, I would just stick into the DRS of Vicious as long as I can, just pull away from Steel's knees, and not fight, because mediums are going to start dying out pretty soon. And the most important thing right now is to keep that gap up. And Wizard of Oz and Wishes both are losing lap time to Steel's knees, who's now what, just under 5 seconds.
Yeah. Steel's Sneeze is clearly giving it his all. He's carrying ABD with him as well. Wizard of Oz once again launching an attack on Vicious, going down the inside, and Vicious keeping it around the outside. Ooh, Wizard of Oz having a bit of a moment there. Vicious takes the lead away from him. I do not know why these guys are fighting. It is not in their best interest to do so, as Steel Sneeze has started to gain all of that time back which they lost earlier on, which they gained earlier on. And there you go, Steel Series is now only 4 seconds away. Vision picking up the first penalty of this race, 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Clearly track limits not doing him a favor. Yellow flags for Poke Player again.
He's not having a good race at all.
Certainly not. And BK19 pulls off into the pits. So the first proper pit stop over here. A very early call even for the mediums, to be honest. Has pulled off into the pits. Obviously will be going on to the hards. 18 laps on the hards is, even in a realistic world, way too long, considering the amount of tire degradation. He will really have to caress those tires until the end. Maybe even hope for a safety car, because if not, he will have over 70% of wear by the time he finishes the race.
And being the high-tech circuit it's going to be a big challenge for him. And as we can see, Zito was into the slipstream, pulls away to make that overtake. And this is not, I don't think this is the best thing that they should be doing right now, as Steve Sneeze is just closing down the gap lap after lap, and this is not helping.
Yeah, and Wizard is lagging around a bit as well, as he coasted into his teammate, and he has the TRS, so yeah.
He's only 3.5 seconds away now.
Steel Sneeze is fully closing in onto these guys, and they are taking their lead for a bit of a granted here. They were in the lead by quite a bit. It was looking all, good, all sorted for them, and now they're just losing all of that time. I'm not sure what's happened. Vision losing his rear a little bit. Poke Player adding salt to his injury. 3 seconds worth of time penalties. Will not be changing his
Alex
final
Joseph
finishing
really going
order,
for a dive.
Oh
no!
Massive contact.
And he loses a wing. And gets a 3 seconds for corner cutting.
That 3 seconds can be removed, but I think what's happened there is Vision has not left him enough space on the inside. A lot of wheel banging, and then they just got caught within each other. And then once you pretty much rubber band back to each other for the second time, the game's physics are a little bit stupid in that matter. It just keeps you held and it will pull you guys back. And that's pretty much it. At that point, you'll have to consider that you will be going spinning. And a race that was going already quite bad for Alex Joseph, because let's see, he's moved on 2 positions. So he was in P7. He now has damage, so he obviously has to pit and change his wing. Considering he's on the hards, an early pit stop will not be helping him at all. It's just gone from an alright day to a clearly bad day for Alex Joseph here.
And now one thing that he can only hope for is a safety car, which for some reason we haven't seen, surprisingly, in this race. So that is definitely very different to the previous 2 races.
Absolutely, and it would be a shame if Tier 2 goes without a full SC. Why is it a shame? I'm not saying because, we encourage bad driving, but rather because of the fact that if Tier 1 ends up having a safety car because of some sort of incident or something, then it'll just be a bad look on that.
Also, it bunches up the field. Right now, the field is quite, it's, spread out, and with the safety car, obviously, it closes in and we get to see a lot more racing.
That is also true. Although we are missing a few of the key competitors for Tier 1, like such as Catty and perhaps even Aradhya Gupta, as Rossi has a bit of a moment there on the exit of that corner. But yeah, as I was saying, perhaps even Aradhya Gupta may not be there since he is still a reserve and he may not be able to get a seat. Vish is closing in quite a bit to Wizard of Oz, and somehow the gap has stayed around 3.5 seconds. So clearly, Steel's knees ties have started to show their age. Wizard of Oz finally pulls away into the pits, clearing up the air for Vicious. And yeah, clearly there will be a bit of a word between these guys because that is not what they realistically wanted between each other.
Now all Vicious has to do is just keep pushing as much as he can and then, keep that lead.
Yeah, he can pull away with his tires for quite a bit. I mean, he's not under immediate threat either, so putting pressure on himself for absolutely no reason won't be ideal for him. So it's just better to keep a calm mind and then perhaps push that 95%, because anyways those mediums will not be able to catch up. Even though his pit window is in a little bit, I think he should still be fine. But clearly he is making a few mistakes as we see him losing the rear corner after corner. It's not going to help him out in the long run at all. If anything, he might have to pit in a couple laps early just because of the excessive tire wear that he has.
So now ABD has to close, 4 seconds down to Parth, and yeah, he has to close down. I think he's lost quite a bit of time to Steel's knees after the once Steel's knees overtook him. I think Steel's knees was pushing like crazy. And as we can see, Wizard of Oz lining up a move against Alex Joseph into his slipstream. And will he get the move done? No, I think Alex is running a very low downforce setup. He's not able, and he makes the move, and he's up to P8.
Yeah, I think Alex almost hit the rear, the car ahead there. That is Rossi. He almost hit the rear of Rossi there, which almost caused him to spin, compromise his line, and obviously as a result of that had to let Wizard of Oz by. So not the easiest of days for Wizard of Oz, but he still obviously will be happy the fact that he has cleared up a car and can be onwards and upwards from here, as he is almost there. He's not too far behind from Rossi, but Rossi is still slowing him down, and if he wants to pull off an undercut on the cars around him, then it is going to be a long day. As there is yellow flags once again for Poke player, who is a minute and 40 something seconds down on just the car ahead, and that is Wizard of Oz also losing his rear. So clearly these guys are struggling a lot with the traction, so something is catching them off guard by quite a bit. Wizard on the outside, I don't think it'll be an ID, I don't think it'll be logical. Okay, never mind. I was going to say it won't be a logical move to make because of the DRS, but hey, I guess if he wants to take that gamble, then he wants to take that gamble. Up to him. ABD, Path and Stevenson is all fighting it out here. 4 cars getting involved in this, even with Alex Joseph, who has damage holding these guys, pulls off to the side since he doesn't have DRS. At least he should be giving his teammates some of it. And to no affair. Oh, that is Parth sending it, and there is contact between him and Steelson. He at least lets the cars by, but that has caused a bit of disruption there. Luckily, no damage from anyone, I don't think. And that is Alex Joseph peeling off into the pits. But yeah, that is very, very unlikely from a driver of the likes of Parth, and I think he definitely has damage, considering the fact that he has pulled off into the pits.
And Alex has a 5 seconds.
Yeah, so Alex will have to serve that time penalty. So get his wing change. Parth will be held up because of that, which essentially means his race is pretty much, oh my god, yeah, over. His race is done and dusted here.
Also, simply if you have noticed, Wizard of Oz, the undercut worked out perfectly, and now he's what 5 seconds clear of him. So with all that was going on in the back, it has worked out really well for Wizard of Oz, who's clearly far ahead of Steel Sneeze, who was on the same strategy.
Yeah, that undercut did maybe it could have gone slightly better if the gap was a little bit. Oh, Vettel Bihari Vajpayee has spun out. Oh my god, I will kill Codemasters. Oh my god. Yeah, Vettel Bihari Vajpayee has spun out uh, with
14 lap
those
hard.
tires. Does that look like a puncher to you anywhere? I don't think there's a
No,
puncher anywhere.
no, I think he just lost traction in that corner and then yeah, just spun out. But
Yep, clearly not a good day for him.
see, E-Dog and Vicious both into the pits onto the medium tires for them, and now they can push and create an even bigger gap.
Or will they fight it out and ruin each other's race? We'll have to
That
see.
would not be ideal for either of them. And as a team, I think that is the last thing you want, crashing
Yeah.
into each other.
Teammate battles never ever work out in a good way. If the teammates are helping each other out, then sure. But in general, battles are something that you really want to avoid, especially within the team. And if they continue battling, even though there's a 3.5 second gap, it won't be, uh, uh, too much of an effort for Vicious to close that in. And eventually, when he does do so, it will be, it'll be a long day if they don't let Vicious by, or if Wizard just stays there and then he's like, no, my position.
Also, Jose Hero, I think, do you think Jose Hero is now hoping for a safety car so he can, because right now he's just losing a massive chunk of time to the guys behind, and I know that he started further back, but this doesn't really help his case if he just keeps extending on these tires where he has no grip. He's losing a lot of lap time. Hopefully, I think he goes into the pits this lap. Yes, and he goes into the pits.
Yeah, being one of the last few drivers to pit, he has royally screwed himself over for sure. That will be a lot of positions. I mean, he could be somewhere around where Rossi is, maybe, when he does come out of the pits. It is a good pit stop. Mediums have been put onto his car. Okay, so maybe not Rossi, because I didn't notice that 10-second E-Dog gap, but he will definitely be coming somewhere behind Vision. So that is still a lot of positions lost compared to where he was. Could have done slightly better, but not the end of the world. He's only about a second and a bit away from Vision, so he can recover that time as the mediums do heat up and they come into their prime. Only has to do about 11 laps on them, and they will definitely last a lot more than 11 laps. So, yeah, I think he's in a good position to just push and then carry it out until the end.
Also, as you were saying that Alex Joseph did put in the fastest lap for now. So yeah, I think, but he won't be getting sadly any point for that. He's P11, so that'll be a shame. And also Nirvana on soft tires. That's
Yeah,
very interesting. Very interesting. It's definitely not going to last for what 11 laps, and he's already 2 laps in. So I don't know what he's hoping for, but yeah, I don't think that is a very smart move. And as you can see, Vicious already caught up to Wizard of Oz. They're going to be battling it out again for the lead. And if I was Wizard, I would just let Vicious through, because, and he has let him through. So
didn't look like he really wanted to let him through because he was struggling for grip there through the middle of the corner, thanks to him being on the outside with the hards. I think he'd obviously had much rather preferred to be on the on the inside line through there, but then again, I don't think it'll be a little too selfish for him to prioritize himself over the team. So In fact, it might be a good choice for him to lose out on a little bit of time for an overall gain.
Also, Vicious already has pulled out a 1 second lead in just a couple of corners, and you can see that the massive tire advantage from the mediums to the hards. And now all Vicious needs to do is just keep it consistent and clean, and we can see
Oh!
and safety car. And that is, I believe, Poke Player. Yes, it is Poke Player. He has DNF'd.
He
Okay.
has retired on track. I think he has lost traction and gone off into the wall there. Could be very, very possible. Yeah, regardless of that, this has kind of screwed over the people, the likes of Jose and
Yeah.
Vicious, because they could have, I mean, especially Jose. Oh, Vicious has decided to go into the pits. Wizard has decided to follow him as well. Not sure what they want to do here. I mean, if they
Are they
have a
going for
fresh
another
pair
to
of
the medium?
mediums. Yeah, I mean, if they have a fresh pair of mediums, yeah, it'll go to the end.
Also, it has worked out for Nirvana,
E-Dog
who is
staying
on.
out. Oh,
It's worked out for. Okay. Deadshot has a drive-through penalty, and Nirvana is the who has got the biggest advantage. He's
wait. I mean,
okay. Okay, Vicious is very brave with that call on softs.
Vicious, Wizard, ABD, both of them unnecessarily brave with their softs now.
So 2 laps behind the safety car and what? 21 to 27. Okay.
Yeah, about that. Even then, I mean, the softs. Wait, no, this cannot be. Hold on. I need to check something. I do need to check something. Let's go all the way down. Deadshot has picked up two drive-throughs while under the safety car.
That is one of the worst things for you to happen during a race. Oh my god, that is not going to work out for him.
I am sorry, but that is the most Deadshot thing to happen. How do you get one drive-through? Unfortunate. Maintain the delta. Look at the delta. Slow down. How does one pick? Because it's not like instantly as soon as you exceed the delta, it gives you it. It gives you about 15 seconds to slow down. And those 15 seconds, even if you gain a second half delta, slam on the brake, stop. You'll lose all of that delta. You'll be back in the green. It's not the end of the world since it's the safety car. How does one pick up two drive-throughs?
Also, simply, has it ever been that we have seen a car picking up two drive-throughs under the same safety car? I don't think it's ever happened. And this is the first time, at least I'm seeing it.
I don't recall one happening either. I mean, under the same safety car, two drive-throughs is something I don't think I've ever seen at all. This is baffling to me.
I think we have had a couple of baffling decisions going out under this safety car, starting with the softs and now two penalties for drive-through penalties for Deadshot. So clearly the tier 2 chaos has set in right now.
Yeah, I mean, E-Dog has stayed out. I'm kind of out of words here, man. I'm gonna be completely honest, because how does a lot of things have gone down. Forget about that. Softs, Vicious, Wizard of Oz, ABD, all of them have plenty of experience on these games. They know that in China, the softs will not last more than 3 or 4 laps. They won't. Even if you are under the safety car, right? Maybe that'll extend to 5 laps, maybe 6 laps, but not more than that. Because it is 4% a lap, 4 to 5% a lap tire wear.
Also, all they can hope for is make up the positions as soon as the safety car goes in, and make up some breathing space for themselves, so that by the end, when they're getting caught, they have just enough that they can finish where they intend to. but it's
Yeah.
still a very risky move because they had everything in their hands. They had all the cards right, but then they just threw it away. It's quite baffling why someone with this much experience would just go for soft tires with 7 laps to go.
Exactly. I mean, uh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It may be the most Hail Mary strategy, right?
Yeah.
The most Hail Mary strategy here. Parth is quite a bit far behind from the rest of the pack. So
Yeah.
obviously the safety car will go on for one more lap.
One more lap.
Maybe it will work out for the soft runners then. But then again, you need to remember when they are pushing 5 or 6% a lap tire wear is
Yeah.
unthinkable.
And they'll be fighting side by side because it's not going to be like just as a safety car, but they're going to create some gaps.
Oh,
so.
brilliant. I don't know what Deadshot has thought of here. Uh,
Okay.
if
And
he's
Vettel Bihari Vajpayee is also into the pits, I believe, for a set of softs. Will Mamu go in for another set of softs?
I
don't think-
beg he doesn't. I beg he does not. I genuinely beg he does not. He
And
has
he does.
what
And he-
man? What? Okay, Vettel Bihari Vajpayee softs, Deadshot softs, but another soft.
Another set of softs.
Guys,
I mean-
guys, please, please
They
think.
have to catch up. They have to catch up. That
Exactly.
is the. To be fair, Park didn't have to do that. He was still with what? He would just have one lap of, tire wear.
Where, yeah.
It's not necessary. It's just. And now we'll be pushing and losing another 4%. It really doesn't give you any sort of gains whatsoever.
Exactly, man. I don't know. I don't know why they're doing this. If anything, these guys, the front runners, will be even more frustrated because the safety car is not gonna go in. I think, yeah, there you go. Finally, it is going in because it sees that okay, at least Deadshot and Vettel Bihari Vajpayee are gonna catch up. So cool, sorted. Only one driver is being left behind. So that was clearly a horrible decision from Parth. Luckily, E-Dog, I think, will be generous enough to slow down. So maybe Parth can catch up. But then that means he has to continue pushing on and on and on. And that means his tires will be picking up all that wear.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I am just waiting for this to finish because this is going to be some extreme amounts of Hail Mary strategy.
Simply, how we are saying we didn't have any sort of safety car and no sort of chaos. It was
Yeah.
pretty much spread out. And right now, it's just complete chaos. You have safety car, people just pitting for softs, bold strategies from the top runners. So, yeah, and Path has caught up. So, good for him.
Thank God. Yeah, good for him. His tires will be ready to go. But then that also means he has that one full lap of wear. E-Dog has gone, but Vicious is not too far away. So a horrible restart from E-Dog. He should have clearly slowed these guys down a lot more. And that is Ace's Scoop is already retired from this race. Why? I mean, incident probably with some sort of driver because that was someone who lost a bit of time there. Wizard of Oz and ABD. Oh, ABD has he spun out? ABD has been spun around there.
out,
He
yeah.
has lost positions.
And he
Contact
made contact
with Rossi as well,
Rossi.
just for I guess.
And Vision,
Yeah.
and and he
Oi.
tries to make a move and does not make it, and he's also right behind Nirvana. Nirvana, to be fair, he has, he pitted for sauce, which early on, and we were saying it was not a right call. Okay, and that's very, very close. Okay, and he makes the move stick.
That's good. Yeah.
Unconventional place to overtake, but
Yeah.
has-
And I mean, forget about unconditional because unconventional. Sorry, because at this point everything is unconventional. Everything is happening at all the wrong times. Deadshot losing it, almost collecting Alex Joseph with him. Steel sneeze in the up ahead. with the much fresher mediums, has obviously gotten a much better exit, using up his ERS to get past Jose Hero, going into turn 14 something over here. BK19 trying his best, looking everywhere to try and get past. Oh, there is contact. BK19 gets spun around by Deadshot, and he is falling down the order. He's fallen back down to P12. They'll all be receiving points, but obviously clearly not what they were expecting and hoping to get at this point. Steel Sneeze is on a charge, only 4/10 away. A little bit more battle happening in the back. Alex Joseph clears off BK19. Parth, well, unfortunate situation for him. Despite bidding for new softs, he is the furthest behind anyone, even after catching up. So, horrible day for Parth, clearly. Moving on up ahead. Oh my god, game, stop all tapping, please. Thanks, Steel Sneeze. Not too far from Hedog. Yeah.
Also, I want to say is Wizard of Oz, biggest loser out of everyone right here. He was clearly, going for that P2 finish. Now he's down to P5. He's losing position. He's 4 laps in already. Like we predicted, it was not the wisest move to go for. Especially, losing this much, he's getting more tire wear, and it doesn't help. You're losing a lot of points just for your team and for yourself.
Exactly. Maybe if he was a guaranteed coming out in P2, then he should have gone for it. Otherwise, it's just not the smartest of moves, and it has paid off. Rossi pulls off around the outside of Vision there, and there's a bit of a change between P2 and P3 as well up ahead. And I am sorry, but there's so many battles going on right now. Once again, another change between Rossi and Vision, and Steel Sneeze will be looking to get as close to Wishes as possible with 4 laps remaining in this race. Deadshot has, for whatever he has to service drive-through, so yeah, so that's
this and then come back
another
another one.
Yeah, so that's his race also done at this point. ABD 28.
I think he's taking out 2 points for that P14.
Yeah, I think that will be the best he can get today, unless someone ahead makes a mistake. Oh, PK19 into the wall.
Commentator's curse. It's real.
Yeah, we were saying earlier PK19 is doing well. Clearly not now. He has fallen back down. Definitely has damage, so he'll also pit. So hey, not the end of the world for Deadshot. He has someone to compete with. Let's go. Alex Joseph, 3/10, 4/10 behind Vettel Bihari Vajpayee, sticking quite close to him. DRS is enabled, so he'll try and get past him as quickly as possible, as clearly those softs have started to lose their tire life already, because they're on 20%, and Alex Joseph not helping himself, hitting the rear of Vettel Bihari Vajpayee with those softs picking up even more, where I think there must be somewhere around 25-30% already, whereas the fresh mediums obviously will have significantly lesser tire wear. So yeah, I think Wishes will start losing a lot of time.
Jose Hero's also catching up to E-Dog, and no, he doesn't make the move.
Nope, he does not, but Alex Joseph surely does. Has moved up into P10.
But he has a 3-second penalty, so he'll have to watch out for that. And I think that can be removed. It's for the corner cutting, for that incident that he had.
Yeah, it can be. That also, will definitely be removed. It will be unfair to keep it.
Also, ABD is only 4/10 away from Vision. So he'll also be looking to make that move. And Nirvana, who is P6, hoping to make a move on Wizard. Obviously, that Tassos will be dying, losing so much performance now. And, this one of the things with softs is that once it reaches a stage, the drop-off is massive. You can't even try to extend it even slightly. Once that drop-off happens, it's as good as not having any tires with you.
Exactly. You might as well run on your brake discs. Shit, they'll go faster than the softs. So yeah, we can see Steel Sneeze has starting to close in. 1 second he has closed into Vicious. Only 2 seconds now the gap between those guys. And through the corners, especially Steel Sneeze is gaining. So on the straights, obviously Vicious is able to stay ahead. But for how long is the question? 3 almost will be moving into about 2 laps, 3 laps remaining in this race. and
I
that
think the
will,
last two laps are going to be really interesting because he's going to close up massively.
yeah, he'll have to push a lot, and that is Nirvana getting ahead of Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz having a look down the inside, off to no efforts. Those softs are dead at this point. Steel Sneeze giving it his all, closing in, and obviously he'll be trying to make a move.
And
Rossi,
Rossi is
right behind Wizard of Oz, goes down the inside, and he has moved ahead.
What a
And
move, solid
obviously,
move.
it is a great move, but obviously Vicious will be hearing about this, knowing that his teammate is dropping down like the biggest rock in a pond, and maybe Vision will be getting past him as over here in just about a second. So, you know, clearly not great news for Vicious as we head on into the second sector, where Steel Sneeze has to turn the afterburners on and catch up to Vicious rather than take it slowly, because he has a great chance of getting past Vicious if he does manage to catch up. We're not too far away from the race's finish.
Also, Alex right behind ABD, and obviously ABD struggling with those tires right now. And I'm sure this move is going to be done at the back straight. Also, right ahead of Vision is also right behind him. So, yeah, there are going to be two moves right now that's going to come up. I think Vicious is holding up, you know, really well for considering that his tires are massively dropping. So I think his biggest hope is that he keeps that consistent pace and he stays right there and gets that win.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz is showing desperation in his moves, now doing whatever he can to defend off from Vision, trying not to lose that position. And there is wheel banging between them because Wizard decided, okay, I'll not leave him space, but clearly did not work out in his favor, and he has gone flying off into P8. Alex Joseph is right behind him, and as you did say, yeah, Vicious is holding on quite well. He has to make a very, very big mistake in this penultimate lap. Only then I think Steel Sneeze will be able to catch. Otherwise, it might be the biggest Hail Mary decision that has somehow worked out.
Also, I think even if they do get the win, which obviously is a great result, I think as an overall, as a team performance, I think it will be a sad day for them because
yeah,
P1 and P8, when they were clearly P1 and P2 with a, you know, the gap, so to lose that many points making that sort of decision, and right now P1 and P9, so yeah, I don't think it's really the best decision that they have made this race.
Okay, so gap now between Steel Sneeze and Vicious as we head into the final lap. 1.3 seconds. Can Steel Sneeze close in as quickly as Alex Joseph is doing on Wizard of Oz? Goes down the inside, and will he be able to keep the move? Yes, he does. That is APD, who is in P10, who's also closing in on to Wizard of Oz. His tires the same age as Wizard, but clearly has nurtured them much better in comparison to Wizard, because he is looking to be much faster right now in comparison to APD, and will obviously apologies, in comparison to Wizard. And APD clearly looking to make a move, and he does send it down the inside, and he gets past Wizard of Oz, struggling through turn 1. And that will be the end of this chain of events over here. What about the lead battle? Steel Sneeze 1.2 seconds behind Vicious. Can he close in? He is doing whatever he can, whatever line he can take to try and close in. The gap unfortunately still 1.2. He has to give it his all to try and close in to
Actually,
get that
gaining.
1 second.
Actually, he has made a mistake somewhere. He's actually losing time to Vicious, so
yeah, he has to hope he gets this next corner right, because otherwise he will be out of the DRS and it might be over. He is out of the DRS because he crossed the detection line with 1.3 seconds to go, and unless Vicious makes a very big mistake coming into the last couple of corners here, it is pretty much sealed for him and he will be winning this race. Vicious comes in, he forgets to turn off the overtake button, does it mid-corner, and he has managed to stay. So Vicious, after a Hail Mary strategy, comes across the final corner and finally across the line to win this race, starting from P1, finishes it in P1, steals knees up into P2, and Jose Hero up into P3, starting from last, serving his qualifying ban. An amazing finish by him. Not such an amazing finish by Vicious's teammate though, who ends up taking that P8 after a few penalties. But then again, these are just provisional results. Some penalties have to be taken in and out, and of course the drives will be moved around. But what a race by Jose, what a race by Vicious, and a great effort by Steel Sneeze nonetheless.
Yeah, a brilliant race, and the last few laps are so good. And we've seen multiple different strategies, different decisions being made. So yeah, it worked out really well for Vicious, and Jose Hero, my driver of the day, from P16 all the way up to P3. So a brilliant drive from him. Also, another shout out I'd like to give is Nirvana, who's finished P6. So kudos to him for that great result.
Exactly, great result from Nirvana as well, bagging a solid points finish there for Red Bull. So they will be gaining quite a bit of points after BK19 finishing P13, not getting the most amount of points there. So yeah, great stuff by him. And if you could pull in the drivers really quickly while we are showing the race results here. Vicious winning with the fastest lap as well, with Steve Sneeze in P2, Jose Hero in P3, and this is your final finishing order. Great efforts by everyone. Unfortunate for some of these guys who could not do the best to their abilities. That, of course, being the great example of Wizard, who unfortunately decided to gamble on the softs and then could not finish up in the podium where he did start. But nonetheless, a great race that obviously got a lot spicy towards the end. And yeah, clearly not domination from AlphaTauri.
Yeah, I think it to a certain point it was, and then they just made that wrong decision. It worked out a treat for Vicious somehow. He managed to keep that gap in, but for Wizard, it wasn't the right call. I think he should have just pitted for the mediums and then stuck out, and he could have possibly just finished with a P3, if not a P2.
Possibly. But hey, not the end of the world. It is only...
Yeah, only 3 races into the season, so still a lot of time to, claw back all the points. So hopefully from the next race, they do realize that sometimes it's not worth to take that risk.
Yep. And would be nice if you can get the drivers in whenever that will be possible. Okay, I'll move them in now. Right, so we have 2 of the guys in. Apologies. Okay, this is weird. I don't know why the screen's glitching out a little bit over here, but okay, we are on Podium interviews now, and we just wait for Steve's Sneeze to join. Maybe he will join. Will he join?
I guess not. So I guess we'll start off with Jose for now.
Sure. Go on.
Yeah.
Take us away with Darky.
Yeah, so Jose, what a race from your side. A brilliant result starting from P16 on the grid and then finishing P3. We saw you were slightly slow at the beginning, but towards the end you started clawing back all those positions, and I got to give it to you, man. You're my driver of the day, so a very good result from your side. So talk us through your race.
Thank you, Daki. So what happened was I had the qualify and I had to start from the last, but then during the starts on the hards, I was not confident on the pace. But then after going to the mediums, I was just going through doing my hot laps. Then I was just praying for one safety car. I got it, and thankfully everyone pitted. And I had the fresh medium, so I went for the positions because it was very difficult in the mid pack to overtake everyone and go on the top. So I took the chances of taking the position instead of the tires, and it paid off. So yeah.
So one thing I'd like to ask, were you enticed to go for the soft tires? Because we saw a lot of top runners, they like Vicious, Wizard of Oz, ABD, they all went for the soft. So were you also given it a thought, should I go for softs for the final few laps?
I mean, not really, because what I had seen from the social races and everything, and like the softs are dying very soon. I mean, Wishes did a very good job on that softs, but for me, the softs were dying by like 4 or 5 laps. So I went for the position there because I had just pitted, and after that, the safety car came out. So I just got lucky on that.
Yeah, so I guess very good race from your side. So yeah, anything to add simply?
No, I mean, I agree with you completely. Definitely my driver of the day. And yeah, you clearly channeled your inner Hamilton today.
Thank you, Simply.
No worries, no worries. Uh, Moving on, because Steel Sneeze is not here. Moving on to a race winner, Vicious.
Hello
That
guys, hello. How are
was
you?
Yeah, we're good, and I'm pretty sure you'll be feeling amazing as well, because that was one hell of a Hail Mary strategy. I will not lie to you. Darky and I were both like, what is Vicious doing? Why does he want to throw away that win? Because going on to the softs, despite knowing that clearly the softs won't last, it is, it was one hell of a Hail Mary strategy, and then somehow you pulled it off. Explain how you did it, because your teammate was clearly struggling and then lost like 3 4 positions towards the end.
So I was quite skeptical about going on to the softs or not. I was thinking, I was asking other drivers what are they doing, and then I decided like it's okay, let's try. What will I lose? I lose P1. It's okay. So I just went onto the softs. I was going very slowly under the safety car to minimize the tire wear. And on the start, I took the lead from EDOC and just dumped my ERS fully to get out of the DRS, and just I took it from there. At the end, it was very close, as you might have seen that Steel Sneeze was almost into my DRS on the last lap. But I guess he made a mistake which made him lost time, and he was not in my DRS. So yeah,
Yeah.
that helped me. Otherwise, the softs were almost dead at the end. A lap or two, and I would have lost the P1.
Okay. And what about earlier in the race, when you and Wizard both were like 6 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack, and then suddenly you guys just started fighting, and then you guys lost like over 3 seconds? Like, what happened there?
So there was a miscommunication at that time. We were not we planned to get DRS of each other and pass each other on each lap, so that we are away from the pack behind. But then I guess there was a miscommunication that who has the better pace and who should lead the pack. And
Mm-hmm.
there we had like one or two instances where we were side by side, and that made us lose time. But it's okay. Sometimes from it and we'll move on.
Yep. I did accidentally click on another VC, but yeah. Uh, yeah, I think you guys do deserve to be up there, on the podium. Such risky moves, I don't think should be happening. But okay, that's for you guys to sort out. It was great entertainment for us, that's for sure. Once again, congrats on the podium. And fear not, guys, that is not the end of the stream. We do have tier 1 coming up at 8 p.m. tonight. Of course, it I will be driving there, so hopefully you guys wish the best for me.
So will I.
But yeah, Dark Knight as well. So please hope for the best of us, because both of us haven't had the best of races so far. But anyways, if you guys have been enjoying so far, obviously subscribe, turn on the notifications if you do want to get involved in this racing and league racing, because we do have some other games also coming up soon. So do make sure to join our server, sign up, get your roles, because we do have a lot of exciting stuff coming up. Obviously, you'll all be able to take part in these leagues as well as a reserve. And if you're just a motorsport enthusiast, regardless, of course you can sign up and obviously enjoy watching races with the rest of the community, be it whatever NASCAR, WEC, F1, whatever it may be. We all love a bit of different sorts of racings. Anyways, that has been it from myself and DarkKnight. Thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon. We'll catch you guys in the night. Bye bye.